Well, hello everybody. I'm Aaron here in the Bowtietreasures studio. I'm going to work on this French Provincial China Cabinet behind me. But tonight's not going to be a paint night. Tonight's prep night. I haven't done this in a long time. And I thought as often as I can, I should show you more about the other things that we do as furniture artists, and that's prep. This is a big project, so it needs lots of prep. And I really haven't done anything. Okay, I sanded that corner, I just couldn't resist. But and I replaced a screw, so we'll talk about that. I have a table full of stuff, and I want to walk through as many of the tools and tips and tricks that I have. And you're welcome to throw yours in the comments if you've got any. If not, just sit back and enjoy. I am going to, I don't think it's shown up yet, but I'll be putting in the comments a link to an Amazon store. I used to have a page on my website, bowtietreasures.com, in the shopping link. I probably had about 100 different products that I used on that page. Well, Amazon's changed how they do their products now. So I've had to kind of rebuild that, and I put almost everything that I thought of tonight into that shop. So it's a start. And if you like to shop and use that link to order any other products or anything else, I get a little bit of a kickback, and it helps support what we do here in the Bowtietreasure awesome studios. So one of the things that I do, you may not, I'm not saying you have to do this all the time. So whatever I'm doing on my project works for me. If it doesn't work for you, disregard it, whatever. It's what works for you and that project. Not every time are you going to take the glass out of a project, but for me, sometimes it works really well. The first thing I'm going to do, just because I imagine the glare is going to be a problem, is I'm going to take this glass out. And a lot of times the glass is put in there with pins and screws and nails. This style, and I've already looked at it, has just rubber wedges maybe. And I'm just going to take those out, set the glass to the side, because it's going to give me two benefits. One, it's going to allow me not to have to get paint on the glass. I'll have to scrape it later. And two, it gives me more work because the client wants me to paint the inside. If you've ever painted the inside of a china cabinet, it's not easy to get to everything. And having all this glass out would definitely be a big help. We'll work on anything else that we come across as we work on it. I'm going to do my best to bring the camera around wherever I can, but obviously I can't put the camera in the cabinet and all that kind of stuff. So, because I'll be moving the camera around. One of the things that when the client dropped off, they acknowledged was that this cabinet was sticking. And you can always tell with any furniture project that something's sticking is when you see wear marks. So for example, if we pull this out, you'll see that down below there's worn wood. Well, that's usually an indicator something's, a lot of times people just abandon furniture because of simple things like that. Well, I can show you probably what the main culprit is. And up here, do you see how this hinge is going to move? I don't know if you can see that. That screws are probably loose. This is one of my favorite. This is the Craftsman, and basically, of course, you can change the heads, which is really nice. And you can also spin just this part. Sometimes it's nice just to have a little, but you can also twist this part so you can go lefty loosey, righty tighty. And I like it also that I can use one hand. Sometimes I'm holding a cabinet. When I put these things back on, I'll be holding a cabinet door, and I only have one hand. So being able to put this with one hand while I hold the door is a really great thing. So of course I don't have it memorized which way to go, but so right now I'm tightening it up. I like to get everything that's rubbing and not going correctly. I like to get those things solved before I paint. And I will tell you that if these don't tighten up, I've put little toothpicks and some glue in there, and that'll help tighten that up. And then just do another test to see if that got rid of some of the rub. It's better, and at least it's not moving as much. So I know that I can fix that later on. That won't be a problem. But here's the other tool that I like is this DeWalt. And I forget what it's called, centrifugal force or whatever, but you basically just turn it left and right with your wrist, and it goes left or right. So if I go this way, the faster I turn, the slower, you know what I mean? Like, If I go slow, it'll turn slow. If I go fast, it'll turn fast. This is a great tool. You can do it like this. You can unlock it, and you can go straight. And it comes with a charger and 2 batteries. And it's got 2, but this is great when you have a lot of screws to take out. And you can also do it with one-handed. So what I mean by that is I can hold the door, and with the other hand, and centrifugal force is turning that for me. Okay, I gotta hold the button. So one-handed drill. Of course, a lot of drills can do that, but most drills, you can't go slow and steady. It's just a great little tool. It's probably one of the more expensive things I have on my list tonight, but I'll use this over a drill a lot. And I won't use this for like drilling, but for this studio work and even being able to make this thing shorter, I love it. So this is a really must-have in my studio. I love having that. The next thing I'm going to do, and I have these on my shop, I think I had a hard time finding the exact set, but I asked these for Christmas, but a little small. But everything from removing little nails, getting in tight spaces, or even just trimming wires. This one's great. I love this needle nose, and I'm going to use that needle nose. I'm just going to go in there and grab this little rubber. See how it's coming out? This is about the only thing holding this glass in there is 2 of these. Okay, so I'm going to, with one hand, hang on to this glass. Okay. Just be careful. I'm not going to take, I don't have to take it all out now, but there's one more at the bottom. All right, I have one more to take out. I was hoping I could just do 2. I'm going to use the other one. So this is the tool here. You see how the tip is turned. And again, I'm just going to grab that. If you're more comfortable with doing with another person, by all means, give them a holler. All right, I'm going to take this glass out and put hands on both sides. Maybe some gloves would be good if you don't want to be scratched. Now I'm going to go set this off to the side. I put these on my shop too. These are little paint, automotive paint containers. Let's see if it'll focus there. I use these for mixing paint all the time because I can use ounces and figure out how much paint I use, and they come with lids. I put these in the shop. There's different sizes it comes with, and there's a small one. But I wound up using these for collecting all my heart. And if you geek out on being super organized, containers like that are cool. But I'm telling you that because also I like to use them for mixing paint. So if you need something that has measurements, and that's really great, and it comes with those little screen filters. So I'm just taking off all the hardware. This is the screw I had to replace. So I've got 2 of these. I've got a Warner one, and I've got a Hyde. And you just, whichever size you want, but those are. So you can do 2 things here. You can just kind of work these out slowly. I can also take something like this and just pull that head out slowly without breaking the nail. Really, you're just going to have to figure out if that is loose enough to pull out. But sometimes what happens if you don't do like a little pliers, you shoot that nail across your studio and then you'll never find it again. But this is, I think I got this in Harbor Freight, but there are a lot of options for these. And this is great for tight spaces. And I say tight spaces like, the wood underneath the drawer that you got to take the screw or put a screw in. But you can turn it by hand, and you can also ratchet. And this is huge if you have limited space vertically. You can't get a screwdriver somewhere. A tool like this is invaluable for me oftentimes for really tight spaces. And I put something very close to this in the cart. I have this handy and I love it. Because even something like, your tried and true little guy like this, not big, it's still too big. Look how small that is. So get one of those. So we have 2 more glasses to get to. It's still not quite easy to get to. The other thing you might want to do if you take these rubber things off is either keep them labeled, maybe with some blue tape, and put them off the side. Now you see, I don't know if you can hear how the screw head's skipping. That's because my Phillip head bit is too small. if you've never bought or ever shopped, there are different head sizes to bit. So if it doesn't do a good job, go to a larger bit. Or if it's worn out, it won't do a good job. So keep an eye on your bits. And I'm talking about these little magnet things that are... Okay, so you hear how fast I took that out? Let's do slow. And again, slow is just gonna be the twist of my hand. See how slow that is? I'm just barely turning my wrist. So the same action that I can get super fast, I can go super slow. So the other thing I need to do now is take out all these little tabs. So those little, when I say tabs, whatever holds the shelves together right there. Well, I'm gonna have to use some pliers or one of my handy dandy tools. I think I've got some pliers over here. I do not have pliers on my, okay, I'll try and add these two later, but I'm a fan of Craftsman, not everything Craftsman, but these are a couple of the tools I keep in my studio. One's more of a, I don't know, multi-purpose tool, and it's a vice grips. This is Milwaukee, this is Craftsman. But something like this allows you to tighten down on that and pull it out. This one you gotta use your own grip. So we'll use this Milwaukee vice grip and just grab onto those. So everything I'm doing has to be reversed, and you gotta put it all back. And if this is the kind of reason why it makes this kind of project more expensive to do, and you should be charging more because there's more prep. So yeah, I'm just gonna use these containers again. Anything metal goes in there, anything I gotta put back goes in there. So I'm gonna reach in here with these little small needle nose pliers and grab the top of those rubber things, pull them out. This may be too much work for some people, I get it. Oh, there it is, I was looking for it. Drop this one by my fingers. If this was nailed in, I would not be doing this. But these rubber pieces are really easy to work with and rarely cause any problems for me, so I've taken off a fair amount of them. You can see from the other side, here's the piece that I'm pulling up. I just stuck a palette knife here and go get loose. So lift it up and we'll take that out. Okay, so all the hardware needs to come off. I've never seen this before, where it looks like two drawers, but it's actually a cabinet. I think that's pretty cool. This is another scenario where you need to inspect. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's dragging. So more than likely, again, I'm going to inspect the hinges to see if there's any movement. And you can see it's wiggling all day, so the screws are probably not tight anymore. And so what happens usually, and if you have kitchen cabinets at home like this, where you open it up and then you push down on the end to kind of lean over. So over time, that's just been, so I'm gonna have to shore that up either with tighter screws or with some toothpicks and small dowels in those holes, because we don't want this. The other thing you can also tell has happened, there's a chip here, and there's a good chance that if you've ever seen a piece of furniture with a lot of missing veneer along the bottom, it's probably because the drawers are dragging. And then it's damaged and it's not really good. So there's a good chance that this is damaged because it kept getting caught. Maybe you can educate your client, hey, did you know that this is happening because of this? And then that puts them in a position where they appreciate you teaching them and being helpful of how they can avoid problems in the future. You hear that? Nothing. The only thing you're hearing is it catching on the magnet. So I've got gaps all the way around. This is a beautiful scenario. So whenever I buy furniture, I'm inspecting this thing right here, like how many problems do I have to solve? How much sanding do I have to do to get this thing resellable or in a good condition? All right, let's talk about some more products. And I put in my shopping link, posted in this live. I really love 3M's product because I've got sanders. I'll probably do a live on sanding, but if you've ever watched some of my previous reels or other sanding, I love my Mikata finishing sander. I think all furniture artists need a finishing sander. I don't care about surf prep or whatever sander tool you have. The bigger the surface, the more faster it's going to go. So this is an example of this came off my sander. I like to keep the scraps for my studio. The 3M, you can see, it has a really nice, and it even says non-slip grip. This works really great. This is the side right here is the surface I get off my finishing sander. That's bigger than any sander, and I love it. So I take the material off so well. But this is 80 grit, and the other one I like to use is 220. I have 120 on my surf prep, but these are the two. I mean, I go with these two all day, and I keep them here in my shop. So, but I buy the sheets. So when you go to my shop, you'll see full sheets. I just take them to my paper, cut them into thirds, just like this. So it saves money instead of buying them already cut. But you can buy them already cut as well. I've already sanded this part here. A lot of furniture goes through abuse, so I'm sanding to get rid of any bumps. And the nice thing about sanding with your hand is that you can kind of, yes, could I use a surf prep sander to do this? Yes. But I can pause, see where I'm at, and just give it a little bit of a touch and round it by hand, okay? Now, I'll always come back with 220, and I'm curving my hands too, and just smooth that out. That just is faster to me. I'm not trying to take all the paint off or the stain. Here's another beat up. This whole thing's beat up, okay? And this just happens. This thing's 50 years old. And so we're just gonna sand. I'm looking just to get rid of. Notice how I'm moving my finger. I'm not staying in one spot because I want to sand to that curve. I mean, it looks like some areas, you know, who knows what it was. Dishes, pans, pots, belts, use. I do have some damage on the bottom down here. And a lot of times there's little chips of veneer. In fact, this has it. So let's take a couple minutes and talk about patching. You can use Dixie Belle mud in some of these situations. But sometimes they're a little bit more aggressive, and there's two products that I like beyond Dixie Belle mud. So I have in my store plastic wood. This is nice and easy. I keep a small container because it tends to start drying out without regular use. This is natural, and I think they have other colors. I have no idea how I came across this, but this Durham's Rock Hard Water Putty. If you've never tried it, it's super cheap. Again, I have that in the store. But you mix powder with water and it gets hard. And I know some people use epoxy, but you should give this a try. If you do a lot of furniture, I think you'll find that it might surprise you. And for the price, I can't use all this fast. It's just taking forever to empty. But I really do this for larger spaces. This is for smaller. But these are two products I'd like to introduce you to. And they're both in that store too. I have something like this. This is an artist palette knife that you'd use like on a artist palette. I've had it for a long time, so I tried to find one very comparable. I like it a lot because I can get in small spaces. And in my cart, I also put a variety pack because you just never know what size or type of putty knife you need. So this is one way of putting it on there, like small spaces. I mean, I've used this on walls before, you know, just small. So this is one option I like to have handy. Let me just show you one other thing that I always recommend. So these are sanding blocks. There's a lot of options out there. This one is made by Warner. I can't find it on Amazon, but I found one very close to it. So when you see it in my shop, you go, oh yeah, it's a different brand, but it's the same idea. And basically you just loosen this up. It's easy to rip out, but it's not supposed to come out. It's supposed to stay in there while you're sanding. There we go. And then just tighten it back up. And the reason why I have this kind of tool is for sanding flat surfaces, so I can get a flat surface as opposed to my hand. It's not flat. Here's another one. I think I got this maybe at a garage sale or something. This one says Hyper Tough. I have another one like this in the shop, and this one takes more like I showed you with this, a 3/4 sheet, and it just wraps in there. I don't use this one as much. I just feel like it's a little bit clunkier. I like this one, but I've got both, and I'll use them once in a while. But these are great for flat surfaces as opposed to using my hand. Check out the Amazon. I'll try and keep adding to it or doing more lives and keep promoting that, because there's just a lot of cool stuff. And feel free to browse around Amazon once you get there. But click on the link, check it out. Let me know what you think about that option, and hopefully that helps. But I've got a lot of work to do on this project, and I'm looking forward to keeping it going in the next few days. And thanks so much for watching tonight. I'm Aaron here in the Bowtietreasures studio. Tune in again here in the near future, and thank you so much for watching. Be awesome, and have a good night. See you later.
That's the end of the show. Make sure you subscribe and ring the bell before you go. Bye.